Good evening, everybody. I'm here with your daily reminder of what day it is. It's Thursday. And welcome to the show. My name is Stuart Davis. I'm a flawed man of God. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar. I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or get you to donate to any special cause. What I am trying to do is get these crumbs out of my beard. I'm doing something degenerate tonight, folks. I'm snacking on croutons. It happens. That's not a plug for Kroger, croutons, or Kroger in general, though Kroger seems to be okay. But I shouldn't do this, but I have. Anyways, if you're interested in learning more about Christ, if you are searching for more meaning in this world and more meaning to your existence, please tune into the show. Let me give you some exposure, some insight, a look through the eyes of a typical everyday Christian. I'm a non-denominational Protestant. I've been one all my life. I don't subscribe to any specific doctrine or denomination. I'm just here in the Word every day. So if you also are interested in listening to Christian commentary on a host of various subjects from issues within the church and without, by all means, this is the program for you. Take a seat, give me a listen, be part of the chat. We have it here tonight. You drive a lot of the conversation here, and I let you do as much as you can with your questions and comments. So you're just as much of a host as I am, though I'm in control. Look at me. I'm the captain now. I used that joke already last night for Joshua, who we'll be talking about again tonight. But hey, everybody, how are you doing? And like I said, meeting croutons. I shouldn't be doing this, but I don't care. I'll repent. Nico is first. MR coming in second here at 7 o'clock, about a half hour early. Wild Weeb coming in as well. Dresden, Porcupine, all you guys and gals, if any of you are, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. If you're tuning in and just listening, welcome to the show as well. You don't have to participate. I just encourage you to do so because it makes that contribution all that much better. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this. Talk to your friends and let them know if you think that this is something they would be interested in, and we'll see how far we can get this channel to grow. But whether we do or not, I like what we've got here tonight. I like the folks coming in, and welcome. It is, like I said, Thursday, and Vacation Bible School has been going great, folks. I'm glad you guys have been flexible and still showing up, even though I'm starting the stream about a half hour early. I don't know if that works better for you guys. It generally doesn't for me because I'm usually spending time with the kids, but they're at church this week and they're having a blast, which is great for me. My buddy's been taking a couple of videos because they're doing dance routines, and I get to see my son dance like an insane person, and my daughter dance like Elaine in Seinfeld. It's great because I'll be able to use this against them tonight. Yes, thank you. Thank you. It is a nice shirt. Thank you, Nico. I appreciate that. This is my Hawkeye Pierce shirt. I'm a big fan of MASH. If any of you guys are too young to understand that show is actually I'm too young to really understand that show either, or have really watched that show, but my dad was a big fan and I used to watch him on replay, and one day I'll sit down and rewatch that show. I'm not a big Alan Alda fan by any means. I don't like his attitude. I don't like his mannerisms, I don't like his politics. However, I do love the way he portrayed Hawkeye Pierce in the show. It was a great show, and brought humor to a time where people were very still healing from a war that had taken a lot of their friends and family members in Vietnam. And though we were giving it even though the show was set in a war that many people forget about, but was very similar in many respects, and that was the Korean War. So if you ever get the opportunity to sit down and watch a couple episodes of MASH, I highly recommend it. It is great. It is great classic comedy, and it does gives some very unique and very real takes sometimes on war in general. So, and will we be talking about war tonight? No, there's no real war. We're not coming up against the walls of Jericho yet, unless when we get our read through tonight, we get there. Like I said, I was reading through Joshua 3 and 4, and I was like, we could cover this pretty quickly, or we couldn't. We might not, depending on how things go and what kind of commentary we give along the way. But then I did notice that chapters 5 and 6, at least chapter 5, covers circumcision. So if any of you guys are, and I know you are, Nick Rekieta fans, and you go and you remember if any of y'all recall the circumcision rant that he went on, it was, in my opinion, one of the funniest daggone things he's done live. It wasn't even his doing. Some people were hassling him, being very weird in their comments and questions at him, and finally he had enough. He went on a long rant about how weird people are about circumcision. So, always a funny topic to talk about when you're in mixed company in a small group, because the guys, look, us guys, I'm gonna tell you something. We are very juvenile in much of our humor. Like I said, we can be sophisticated in the things we laugh at. We can think of the jokes. Some of us will appreciate the crap. Well, now I feel stupid because I can't remember. Norm Macdonald was one of the ones I was was about to talk about, and the other guy, he's still alive. He used to do Monday Night Football, and he was in that one Tales from the Crypt episode. But the high, thoughtful, dry, thinking man's humor, and then there's the potty humor, the toilet humor, the crude humor that still makes us giggle. At least it does me. So that's what we revert to when there's any discussion of circumcision. All the guys start giggling and making sound effects and all sorts of other things. So Nico remembers what I'm talking about. Yeah, weirdos asking about kids. That was when it got weird, and he had, I think, an appropriate and hilarious reaction to it. I think that was before Rittenhouse too. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was before Rittenhouse. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about Joshua 3 and Joshua 4. At least that's on the docket tonight. What do we see here at the beginning? Crossing the Jordan. Now, when we last night's episode, what we had was some spies. Joshua sent out some spies to scout ahead. They went over to They went into this area, into the soon-to-be promised land, or the promise to them land, and snuck into Jericho, through the walls, got through the gates or whatever. Immediately found a prostitute, apparently, for science, and started getting some information out of her. We don't know exactly how they got the information out of her, but they did ask her questions, and she did say that the Canaanites there were very afraid of the Israelites because they'd seen what the Israelites had done, the great works that God had done on behalf of the Israelites, parting the Red Sea, helping them destroy the Amorites, that kind of stuff. And so they were, what she said, their hearts were melting in fear. And so she asked for some leniency. She asked for her life to be spared and that of her family and her family's, I guess, extended family or whatever. And they said, look, yeah, help us do what we got to do and bring all your people into this house, mark it with a sash in the window, and you'll all be safe. But don't let us catch you outside, because we can't be held responsible for what happens there. But this is our vow. You stay in this house, you're going to be safe. Just make sure you mark it. But if you break your vow, our vow's broken as well. So they went back and talk to Joshua about this. And so now we're getting ready for the big event, which takes 2 chapters, crossing the Jordan. All right. This has been something that has been awaited for 40 years. And we don't even get to do it with Moses, but we get to do it with Joshua. Moses died at the end of Deuteronomy, if any of you haven't caught an episode in a while. But that's where we're at. So we'll start with chapter 3, crossing the Jordan. Early in the morning, Joshua and all the Israelites set out from Shittim, or Shittim, whatever, and went to the Jordan, where they camped before crossing over. After 3 days, the officers went throughout the camp, giving orders to the people. When you see the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord your God and the Levitical priests carrying it, you are to move out from your positions and follow it. Then you will know which way to go, since you have never been this way before. But keep a distance of about 2,000 cubits between you and the ark. Do not go near it. Yeah, this is very cool. God's leading the way. I'm leading you into the promised land, which he deserves, right? For putting up with all their bull crap for the past, 4 books. But they're going to, the Levitical priests are going to carry the Ark of the Covenant. And when the people see it, they're supposed to, what we in the military would call it, you would fall in behind it, but not too close. Not too close. You don't want to get anywhere near that thing. All right. God's on a short fuse, right? He doesn't want you near him. He wants you to obey and listen to him, just like you said you were going to do to Joshua. Joshua told the people, consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you. And Joshua said to the priests, take up the Ark of the Covenant and pass on ahead of the people. So they took it up and went ahead of them. This is all within 3 days or so after the mourning period for Moses was done. Joshua's not wasting any time. Things got to get done. And the more active you keep these people, the more focused they are. And the Lord said to Joshua, today I will begin to exalt you in the eyes of all Israel, so they may know that I am with you as I was with Moses. Tell the priests who carry the Ark of the Covenant, when you reach the edge of the Jordan's waters, go and stand in the river. Joshua said to the Israelites, come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God. This is how you will know that the living God is among you, and that he will certainly drive out before you the Canaanites, Hittites, Hivites, Perizzites, Girgashites, Amorites, and Jebusites. All the other ites. There's only one ites allowed. That's Israelites. See, the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord of all the earth will go into the Jordan ahead of you. Now then, choose 12 men from the tribes of Israel, 1 from each tribe. And as soon as the priests who carry the Ark of the Lord of all the earth, set foot in the Jordan, its waters flowing downstream will be cut off and stand up in a heap. Its waters flowing downstream will be cut off and stand up in a heap. That's very interesting. I'm trying to picture that in my head. Basically, it sounds like God's just going to cut the stream off at that point, but stand up in a heap. I wonder what that means. Is it just going to pile up? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So when the people broke camp to cross the Jordan, the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant went ahead of them. Now the Jordan is at flood stage all during harvest. Yet as soon as the priests who carry the ark reached the Jordan and their feet touched the water's edge, the water from upstream stopped flowing. It piled up in a heap a great distance away. At a town called Adam, in the vicinity of Zarethan, while the water flowing down to the Sea of Arabah, I almost said Agrabah. While the water flowing down to the Sea of Arabah, that is the Dead Sea, was completely cut off. So the people crossed over opposite Jericho. The priests who carried the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord stopped in the middle of the Jordan and stood on dry ground, while all Israel passed by until the whole nation had completed the cross, until the whole nation had completed the crossing on dry ground. So we're seeing something very, very similar. All right, so we've got a river the Jordan River, it's at flood stages, right? God said, I'm going to perform yet another miracle for you guys. I'm going to show you that I'm with you, Joshua, just like I'm with Moses. And so what does he do? He has them take it up. He tells them what's going to happen. The priests go, and immediately the water dries up, right? Water gets cut off, and it goes back. He said a great distance away at a town called Adam. Interesting. And so the water, obviously, that was flowing was now gone because it's all flowing down to the Dead Sea. So the people crossed over opposite Jericho, which what was Jericho? What was Jericho afraid of? Things that had happened before. And one of the big things that Rahab, oh crap, I can't remember her name. Hang on. Rahab, yeah, okay, I had that right. Rahab, one of the things she said was, we saw what you did in crossing the Red Sea. Well, now they're crossing the Jordan River leading down to the Dead Sea. Now they're crossing it the same way. And what is the ark? The ark is standing there as if God is holding the river back, because he is, but you're also catching the symbolism here of him standing in the way. And he's having the priests hold fast while they cross behind him. Think of it like the crossing guards, or what is it? The safety patrol is what we called it in school. The kids that would stop traffic. They had the little stop signs. The older kids had the stop signs and would go out and stop the cars so that the younger kids could pass. They didn't do this in real streets. They did it in like the parking lot and the bus loop and everything, but similar thing. And all of Israel had passed by. So all the great multitude, the million a million plus people. Nernath, welcome. I didn't see you yesterday. Glad to see you back in here. I mentioned you last night, I think. I'm pretty sure. Rahab, think rehab, but a bit different. Yeah. Hopefully, Rahab was rehabbing from her prostitution. All right, going into chapter 4. When the whole nation had finished crossing the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, choose 12 men from among the people, one from each tribe, and tell them to take up 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, from right where the priests are standing, and carry them over with you and put them down at the place where you stay tonight. So Joshua called together the 12 men he had appointed from the Israelites, one from each tribe, and said to them, go over before the ark of the Lord your God into the middle of the Jordan. Each of you is to take up a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the Israelites, to serve as a sign among you. In the future, when your children ask you, what do these stones mean? Tell them that the flow of the Jordan was cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it crossed the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. These stones are to be a memorial to the people of Israel forever. Wonder if they're still there. Be interesting to know. Now, Nernath, hall monitors, little Pinochets in training, one tried to arrest me with their handcuffs. What? Hall monitors? No, not hall monitors. I'm talking about the safety patrol. They're the ones who help the kids cross over, not the ones who looked and asked you for ask you if you have a hall pass. Are you really supposed to be going to the bathroom? Nernath says, my ears were ringing yesterday. I teach Isaiah on Wednesdays to lower primary schoolers. Oh, that's cool. That's tough to keep them. That is hurting cats. Look, I did until recently. We've got a youth minister hired who's taking over these days, and I'm giving him a few months before I go back to helping out, because I do enjoy teaching middle schoolers and high schoolers, but it's also nice to be around people my own age, because that's my people. But it's not. I love teaching the middle schoolers and high schoolers. The one thing that you don't always get is nobody wants to participate. Like nobody wants to give an answer. Nobody wants to talk about, what's on their mind a lot, because when you're that age, you're worried about opening up about your feelings, because you're worried about being thought of as weird or overly sensitive or something like that. You don't talk about your problems. It's something I've talked to my son about a lot of times. It's just, hey, look, I want you to talk to me. I want you to talk to me about your problems, because especially since he's so much like me, you talk to me about your problems, because I can help you. I can give you advice. I can tell you where because I didn't have a good experience in school. I can tell you how it feels to be alone or unliked or weird or picked on and stuff like that. And then it gets better. Look at where I'm at now. And I'm saying I'm on top of the world, but I feel that way. I feel that way with all the blessings that have been bestowed upon me. But it a lot of times life, the things you go through in life are phases. And I very much was a late bloomer in many things, but career wise, I wasn't. That was one thing that I was blessed with early, but kids don't want to do that. And so that makes it somewhat difficult. But I do enjoy teaching them, because they say hilarious things. When you get them to open up just a little bit. You can get a lot of good commentary out of them, and it's a mix between um, an older person's humor and the innocent, naive child humor. So that's one of the things I like. Middle schoolers in general, high schoolers, they're terrible. It's a terrible age. And they do terrible things to each other, and they are very much into themselves. But at the same time, they can be. You can find that a lot of times they're just looking for guidance, and they don't know how to ask for it, and they don't know necessarily where to go find it. They're kind of rebelling against their parents, so they want to find another source because they've been listening to their parents so long, but they don't necessarily know where they should find it, and that's where you oftentimes find them getting advice and getting influence in the wrong places. So it's good if you can ever be a bastion for any young person, to be a mentor or be a sounding board for them. If you've got good things to say, if you can teach them how wholesome principles can get you far in life, as far as you need to be, and lead them to God, then I mean, you're one of the most blessed people, or you're doing some of the Lord's most important work, I think. Because we know Christ in God. Of course, when we're thinking about the Trinity, we know that children are very precious to them. And you can look at it from whatever aspect of it. I look at it from the Anabaptist, the age of accountability. I even further than that, till really where you get a hold of yourself maturity wise, which takes probably mid to late 20s. Look, you got to you're searching, and if you can, or a person is searching, and if you can be that handle, that rock in the waters, if you can be that branch to hold on to, you can make a world of difference in somebody's life, even if they don't appreciate it at that time. My oldest is the opposite, a know-it-all, and we're working with him to chill and allow the other kids to participate. Yeah, I mean, we've got a kid. We've got a kid in our class. He's one of the younger ones, and his dad was a youth minister, and he knows the Bible. Maybe better than I do. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm a scholar, but he's a kid. He knows what's going to happen next. And so when we were going through different things, he would be like, "Oh yeah, and he's going to do this." And I was like, "Stop, stop talking, Stop talking. You're ruining this. I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to be in the moment, and you're 3 steps ahead. We know. I said, I know that you know, but we're trying to bring the other kids, like you said, allow them to participate. And it's difficult. It's difficult when you know, right? And you're and you don't have all those um filters that you put in place as you get older. I think about things where, like, even if I'm in a meeting, right, and I've got something funny to say or I've got something to add, um, and it might not be the best time to make the joke, or it might not be my place to make a comment, or some advice on something. You know, let somebody else talk about what they need to do. And I think about it in the moment. I'm like, I wonder 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or what the teenager me would have done in this position. They probably just would have blurted it out and not even known what they were doing. So that's it's cool. I'm glad you guys are working on it. Be patient, I guess, and sometimes understand that it might just be time. It might just be time that ends up teaching them that lesson, and it might just be some sort of um some sort of social situation where they get embarrassed or somebody says something about them like that they don't like it, that teaches them that they need to back off. Life's all about experiences like that, and sometimes it works, but you know, it's good. The know-it-all means a lot of times means they're smart. Maybe not as smart as they think they know, but smart, and they know that they're smart. Um, and so you just need the maturity to come up, and in time that maturity will generally catch up. So sometimes it's a good sign. And if I've got to know it all in my class, when he starts, we just start talking about what it means and moving the knowledge into understanding. He knows the factual answers, but the application still puzzles. That is right what I'm talking about, right? It's like, stop leaping ahead. We need to come back. We're not there yet. It's the same thing. You can know, and he's very much like that. You can know what happens, but really stopping. And that's kind of what I like about what we're doing here. Instead of just reading through the Bible, we're doing it a couple of chapters at a time. We're stopping and thinking about it, as different things strike me. And as y'all bring different stuff up, to kind of just be in the moment on something and understand what's going on there, instead of worrying about what's going on ahead of time. Because what a lot of these, where we try to be, is where the Israelites are, or where Joshua is, or where Moses was, or where Joseph was, and so on and so forth, as they're in the moment. What's going through their head, and what is supposed to be going on? What are we supposed to be pulling from that? Because if we think about what's going to happen, we might miss the point. And it's easy to know that as a kid, because, like, again, maturity is a big thing. And like I said, I brought this up in the homeschool stream. I'm an ADHD kid. I'm an ADHD kid who was in it before a lot of the warning signs and a lot of the ways to deal with it were not yet written. They were just learning on diagnosing it, and they were still messing with medications to address it. And I'm not generally a medication person, and I'm not generally a medication person. I'm not an anti-vaxxer or anything, but I do think that you need to be pragmatic and be thoughtful about what you introduce into your body that is foreign to it. But one of the things I am glad is that my parents did put me on Ritalin when I was young. I ended up weaning myself off of it as soon as I learned that technically I shouldn't have enlisted into the Army to begin with, because at that time, I don't know if it's still the case, but at that time, Ritalin was considered a mind-altering drug, and if you took it, you had to go through a whole big waiver process. So the recruiters just said, look, it's easier just to not tell them. And I realized enough in my head that, I was smart enough to realize, okay, that's fine if I don't tell them, but what happens if I start to need it, if I start to slip up, because I've been on this medication so long? What happens if I start screwing around, and letting my energy get ahead of me? And so I was like, I need to learn how to operate without it. And so about my junior year in high school, I stopped taking Ritalin. And so by the time I was 18 and graduated from high school, I was on my way to dealing with it. It still affected me a little bit. It was harder for me to get on task about some things, but the discipline in the military actually acts as actually helps you if you're ADHD, because that disciplined routine, scheduled, everything is there's a known mission, there's a known schedule, there's a known routine, there's a process for everything, right? That helps. I don't know where I was going with that, but I don't even know how I got on that rant, but I know we were talking about kids and know-it-alls and everything. But Porcupine said, agrees with me and Nernath. We focus on the training of the teacher's life experiences and absorbing the knowledge through introspection. He's matured slowly, but getting better each and every day. That maturation is probably happening a lot faster than you think, and a lot faster than would happen if you didn't do those things. So kudos to you, Nernath, for what y'all do. And yeah, it's a joy, because what we're going to be able to do at one point is look, when we see these people come back and we have interactions with them when they become grown men and grown women, and we get to see who they grow up into, and we get to tell ourselves, I don't know how much of a hand I had in that, but I had I had at least a little bit of influence, I think. And I think that is, to me, that's a great thing. I look forward to it with my kids, because I know that my influence I know that I would have had some influence in on it. But even with the kids that I teach and the kids that I'm around, that maybe they get something out of me that's good, and ignore all the ridiculous and obnoxious things I do on a regular basis, because I am still an ADHD kid at heart. Much to my wife's consternation. Nernaea said the military helps a lot of people. More people could use it. Yes. And Nico, take it easy. Be good. The military does. I don't know about it nowadays. One of the things I've seen is that and I try not to be the get off my lawn old man about it, but even when I enlisted, there were things that I had, some expectations I had in the military. A lot of expectations I had in the military, which were being kind of relaxed at that point. And a lot of it had to do with them being a social. That was the beginnings of the social experiments in the military that ended up, I think, making us less of an effective fighting force and more of a propaganda for, look how inclusive and great we are with each other, instead of like, look, we're here to blow stuff up, break shit, and kill people. I mean, that's what the military is about. Break glass in case of war. That's what we do. And then we train how we fight. And so, and I got out in 2009, and even then it was not looking good. It was not looking good. We've changed our attitude. I feel like we've moved away from discipline, and that's just, I worry. I worry about any type of conflict, how prepared they're going to be. The first wave. Now, we are a resilient culture. We are a resilient people, as Americans. Less than we don't know it as much. We've lost a lot of that, but when the first group, it's going to be hard on them, and then I fear some very hard lessons are going to be learned, but that'll just teach us to go back to the basics, back to the fundamentals, and hopefully we'll learn from it. Hopefully we'll learn for it. I just don't want the cost to be too high, but I fear that it may be. It may be high. So in Dresden, a lot to learn from listening to people with life experience. Amen. Something we don't learn early enough. All right. So the Israelites did as Joshua commanded them. They took 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, according to the number of the tribes of the Israelites, as the Lord had told Joshua, and they carried them over with them to their camp, where they put them down. Joshua set up the 12 stones that had been in the middle of the Jordan at the spot where the priests who had carried the Ark of the Covenant had stood, and they are there to this day. Now, there to this day, whenever this was written. Wonder if they're still there. Be interesting if they are. Now, the priest who had carried the ark remained standing in the middle of the Jordan until everything the Lord had commanded Joshua was done by the people, just as Moses had directed Joshua. The people hurried over, and as soon as all of them had crossed, the ark of the Lord and the priests came to the other side while the people watched. The men of Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh crossed over, ready for battle, in front of the Israelites, as Moses had directed them. About 40,000 armed for battle crossed over before the Lord to the plains of Jericho for war. Yeah, for war. That day the Lord had exalted Joshua in the sight of all Israel, and they stood in awe of him all the days of his life, just as they stood in awe of Moses. Then the Lord said to Joshua, command the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant law to come up out of the Jordan. So Joshua commanded the priests, come up out of the Jordan. And the priests came up out of the river, carrying the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. No sooner had they set their feet on the dry ground than the waters of the Jordan returned to their place and ran at flood stage as before. On the 10th day of the first month, the people went up from the Jordan and camped at Gilgal on the eastern border of Jericho. And Joshua set up at Gilgal the 12 stones they had taken out of the Jordan. He said to the Israelites, in the future, when your descendants ask their parents, what do these stones mean? Tell them, Israel crossed the Jordan on dry ground. For the Lord your God dried up the Jordan before you until you had crossed over. The Lord your God did to the Jordan what he had done to the Red Sea when he dried it up before us until we had crossed over. He did this so that all the peoples of the earth might know that the hand of the Lord is so powerful, and so that you might always fear the Lord your God. You'd think they'd fear it, they wouldn't. So, pretty powerful stuff. And look, I know, and that's going back to the military experience. I remember basic training. I went to Fort Knox, and I was talking to a gentleman who I work with, um, about. He found out he was a tanker, and Fort Knox, at least back in the early 2000s, and for a long time, that was the home of the Army Cavalry. Tankers, Cav Scouts, that's where they went to train. There's tanks all over the place. And so we would be doing a road march. And when you're doing the road march, you've got guys on each end of the road. And it's just a regular road that you would be driving around. So it's interesting. You're on a military base and you're driving around. If you're at a basic training base, you'll see guys doing road marches, and they'll be on each side of the road. Every once in a while, you get a column of Abrams tanks drive by and drive in between your road march. And man, oh man, does that get you pumped up. So it gets you so pumped up, ready to go into battle. And then you see 40,000 men armed for battle crossing over before the Lord. Everybody was ready to go. Everybody was ready to go. Let's go do this. Let's go take out Jericho. We're going to go. So who cares about these walls of Jericho? We're just going to climb over and we're just going to punch right through them. That's how pumped up you get. And they're going to do it a little bit differently. If you know your biblical history, you know they're going to do things a little bit differently. All right, so should I keep on going? Should I keep on doing chapter 5? I've got a couple of minutes. I got 20 more minutes before I need to get off. What do y'all think? Should I do chapter 5? I'll wait. All right. All I needed was one person to say do it. But yes, Nico says, Nico, you're supposed to be gone, but glad. Thank you for voting. And even the first to respond. Renee said Bradley's were cooler with the 50 cal. That Abrams. Bradley's don't have the weight, and that's physically and just the feeling, the weight of an Abrams tank next to you. Like, they're big. You know an Abrams tank is big. It's low slung and it's still big. And when you're next to an Abrams tank dude, you feel the power. You feel the power of United States armor. And it is it's it's an adrenaline rush. It's an adrenaline rush. My dad took me years ago. Military power, being around military weaponry is amazing when you see it in action. My dad took me when I was a kid um, to a live fire demonstration of an A10, A10, and a an Apache. I don't know what else was going on there. They might have been doing some other stuff, but what I remember is the A10 and the Apache because look, that steal the show. And look, as a Black Hawk guy personally, I make fun of the Apaches because they spend so much time broken in the hangar because they break for everything. They're avionics. I mean, they just got a lot of stuff that can break. So we make sure we call them hangar queens. But when they're in action, dude, that do not be on the wrong end of an Apache. Do never be on the wrong end of an A10. Just never. Just don't ever. They call it, look, they got Hellfire missiles, and they call them Hellfires for a reason. Damn it. A10 is just cheating, yeah. But look, Bradley fighting vehicle, I mean, look, you can't pack people into an A10. You can't pack them into an Apache. You can't pack them into an Abrams. If you wanted troops to come in, I'd much rather be in a Bradley than than many other things. Get me in. Get me into some armor. Because it can take some punish. It can take a lot more damage and punishment than I can without it. So yeah. Bradley's pretty neat. Bradley's got I like that little because they've got that belt fed cannon on the turret. I'm trying to remember what that's called. I can't remember the size, but it hits. It hits. It ain't no joke. I used to. We talked about gaming. We've talked about gaming, and that one of my favorite games series is Battlefield series. And Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 are two of my favorite multiplayer games to this day. And I'm really, really disappointed that the latest Battlefield. I was really excited about it, and because it looked like the next iteration of Battlefield 4, and that's one of the great things about them that puts it over Call of Duty, which is for kids. Call of Duty is for kids. Battlefield is for adults because you got a bigger battlefield, way more toys to play with. You don't call in an airstrike, you are the airstrike, right? You don't call in, you don't bring in a bot. You are in the tank. You are in the tank. And I love getting into a Bradley on in Battlefield and just messing stuff up. Now somebody told me recently that there's still active Battlefield 4 servers. I might have to get on that. Speaking of getting on things, let's get on with our biblical reading, so we can get this done. Because I got 6 minutes. No, wait, I got 16 minutes. Whatever. Chapter 5. Now, when all the Amorite kings west of the Jordan and all the Canaanite kings along the coast heard how the Lord dried up the Jordan before the Israelites until they had crossed over, their hearts melted in fear, and they no longer had the courage to face the Israelites. They ran. They're running. They're going away and hiding because they know what happened when they crossed over the Red Sea. Egypt got wiped out. Not completely, obviously, but that army was swallowed up. So they know what's coming, and they know what happened to the Amorites before them. Beaten to a pulp. It's okay, Weeb. You can watch it on replay. Circumcision and Passover at Gilgal. At that time, the Lord said to Joshua, "Make flint knives and circumcise the Israelites again." So Joshua made flint knives and circumcised the Israelites at Gilbeth Haraloth. Gilbeath. Gibeath. Haraloth. Whatever. It ought to be something I don't like saying if it's going to be difficult, if it's going to be a difficult task. Circumcise the Israelites again? A grown man? Suddenly, look, I was ready to go. Ready to go and as walking around with my 40,000 bros. Now you're telling me I got to circumcise myself again? Heart drops. Morale is in the dumps. I know God told me to do it. I know that means he has a plan. That doesn't mean I have to look forward to this. I'm not going to be circumcising myself with joy with flint knives. Now this is why he did so. This is why he did so. All those who came out of Egypt, all the men of military age, died in the wilderness on the way after leaving Egypt. All the people that came out had been circumcised, but all the people born in the wilderness during the journey from Egypt had not. You're right, Internet. The Israelites had moved about in the wilderness 40 years until all the men who were of military age when they left Egypt had died, since they had not obeyed the Lord, for the Lord had sworn to them that they would not see the land he had solemnly promised their ancestors to give us, a land flowing with milk and honey. So he raised up their sons in their place, and these were the ones Joshua circumcised. They were still uncircumcised because they had not been circumcised on the way. And after the whole nation had been circumcised, they remained where they were in camp until they were healed. This is why you get you circumcise your kid as a baby. I guess TMI, but I'm cut. But I'd be so mad at my parents, be like, why didn't you circumcise me in the wilderness so I don't have to do this as a grown man? It's a grown man. Because nobody remembers being circumcised as a baby. You just don't. You don't. And all the talk about how it's traumatizing, whatever. Well, you either agree with it or you don't. That's fine. But I am not in fighting shape. I am not in fighting shape. I can tell you that. or or maybe I'm extra mad because I'm hurting. I'm in pain, and I don't want to be. I'm in pain in a place I don't want to be, and I'm ready to kill somebody. So maybe there's a reason for this. Then the Lord, then the Lord said to Joshua, "Oh wait, after the whole nation had been circumcised, they remained where they were in camp until they healed." Yeah, you imagine. You look, all these Amorite kings and the Canaanite kings, they're all looking. All these guys are like, "What are they doing out there?" Like, you're scared, right? You're scared because you know this is coming. But then the camp is just sitting out there, and your scouts are coming back, and they're like, well, "What are they doing out there?" They're like, "I don't know. They're just sitting out there. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of gnashing of teeth. There's a lot of screaming." And be like, "What are they, sick? Like, what's going on?" I don't know. What are they doing? What are they doing? Because look, you're gonna need some time. You're gonna need some time to heal after this. And Nernath, by again, I hope this meant they neglected their practice in the wandering, not again. Yeah, like, what else are you going to take, right? Fig said, "Thank God I didn't get circumcised. I'm not circumcised. My manhood is unbreaded." Well, it's uncut. Oh wait, hold on. No, that's Fig and Wild Weeb. Okay, sharing themselves. Nernath, I wonder how the rest of the camp dealt with it. Yeah. Look, you guys know. You guys know. Man flu is real. Ladies, they don't want to admit that it's real. Man flu is real. And they don't like dealing with it. This is worse than man flu. This has got to be worse than a kidney stone, which I had for the first time a year ago. A little over a year ago. I had my first kidney stone. This has got to be worse. And lingering. Oh, man. Porcupine. Did they do the awkward Rabbi Briss stuff on these grown-ass Israelites? Yeah, it's got to be. Dude, don't make any ceremony about it. Just give me some wine. Give me enough wine and do what you got to do and let me go into my tent and weep. And weep. I know that there are some people who say there's no reason for a man to cry. Sometimes you might be in enough pain. This might be it. Dresden, I don't have time to circumcise. I'm too busy watching F4 Phantoms dropping napalm. Are you watching a movie or are you playing a game? Is that like DCS simulator? F4s are awesome. That's the first that's the first jets I ever remember seeing with my dad at the airport, taking off with the air guard. F4s. Ugly jet, but something about it is very just cool looking. Love an F4. Love an F4. That's why, and by the way, tomorrow night there's going to be stream after family movie night, or maybe on schedule because we have rescheduled once again Top Gun to be next Tuesday. So next Tuesday is going to be War Thunder. Maybe I need to check that out. Yeah, DCS. Yeah, I need a more powerful computer to run that. But man, that's one I've had my eye on for years. So yeah, so next Tuesday is probably going to be a delayed. It's going to be a later stream. Just to let you guys know. Just to let you guys know that is that might be a late stream because we will go see Top Gun Tuesday. And the reason we did is my dad called me today and he was like, "Are we going to do it tomorrow? Or are we going to do it Tuesday?" I was like, "Well, we're going to do it tomorrow." And he goes, "Well, it's so much cheaper on a Tuesday." Which is true. We save about $15, which is enough for half of a bag of popcorn nowadays. So if we go Tuesday, it's $7 for all of us, as opposed to like 13, and 10 for the three of us to go on a Friday. So we're gonna go on Tuesday. We're gonna go on a Tuesday. Anyway. Childish humor. Not sorry. Neither am I. Don't be sorry about this. Don't be sorry. And Fig, I've never let my firstborn male anywhere near a rabbi. Look, the rabbis aren't the only ones who do it. Doctor did my kid. I think a doctor did me. So, tis what tis. All right, so now let's get past all the cutting jokes. On the evening of the 14th day of the month, while camped at Gilgal on the plains of Jericho, the Israelites celebrated the Passover. Hey, excellent. The day after the Passover, that very day, they ate some of the produce of the land, unleavened bread, and roasted grain. The manna stopped the day after. They ate this food from the land. There was no longer any manna for the Israelites. But that year, they ate the produce of Canaan. Oh, I hate doing this. I hate cutting it. Wait. All right, we're going to do the fall of Jericho because I hate it when they do this in the Bible. This should be 6. Right? Or this should have been part of 4. Anyway, I hate it when they keep this stuff in here. So we'll start off with the finalization of we'll do the fall of Jericho tomorrow night. I'm never letting my firstborn marry near a doctor. I'm just gonna go off the grid. Dude, I saw this thing on Twitter where this woman had her kid in the ocean. Like in the surf, right? Like not in the surf, but just past the surf. Weird. Very weird. Don't do that. The joke from Anchorman and everything about bears, whatever. Sharks will come. That's blood in the water. The word is inspired, but the divisions are sometimes stupid. Yeah, I know. I get it, Nernath. I don't get it. That's cool. Why not? Why not? Because sharks are going to come, and that might not matter to you, but somebody, comes along, 10 minutes later swimming in the ocean, and all of a sudden they get attacked by a bull shark because they've been attracted and they're in hungry shark mode. That's not cool, dude. That's not cool. Fig, what is wrong with you? Fig, why are you doing this? Guys, it's been a blast as always. It's been bad. Humanity freaks me out sometimes. It's on the surface of the land. No, it's not. It's in the water. She's in the water. All that water gets sucked back into the surf and it all cycles back in. You think that they don't know? Dude, Shark Week's coming up. Shark Week's coming up. Baby shark. I knew it. Do it in a lake. Lake Placid. If you ever saw that movie. A pool. Oh, that would be. Now you gotta be careful about a pool. Pool's got chemicals in it. A lot of chlorine. Even a saltwater pool. I mean, that's even a saltwater pool. It's a little weird. All right, 8:27. I need to get going, guys. We're not gonna have a tangent about having your kid in the water, right? We can talk to Lutherans about that, baptizing your babies, which I need to do. I need to have Hans back on here. I think y'all will enjoy him. Have him on to talk about, basically make the case for baptizing babies. But in the meantime, guys, y'all stop this. Baby NATO. These are. That's an amazing idea. But we're not doing that. We're not doing this tonight. We're going to go. We're going to close this out, everybody. Had a great time. We're going to pick up Joshua 5 with the end of Joshua 5 tomorrow. And Hans will bring the schnitzels. Look, his name's Hans Feeney, but he's American. He's American Lutheran. He's based. He's so based. Go watch my interview with him. It was one of my longest interviews I ever did with one guy. It's back there. I think in February or March at some point. It's an awesome interview. So, but go back. He is great. Anyway, guys, have a good evening. Have a good evening. Have a good evening in a pool. Have a good evening in a river. Have a good evening wherever you are. Be glad that God is not asking you to be circumcised before battle. That said, everybody, have a very good night and God bless. Press the wrong button. Boomer.